people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns.
I went to play St. Pius spot, and I forgot that it was in the We Concur folder, so the
To the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. We've got a whole bunch to talk about today. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. I've got Bob here in studio, and we almost started the show late because we were reading an interesting article. Well, maybe we'll share with you guys later, but it involves the size of your biceps. So we're here fiddling with the tape measure.
And believe it or not, there's supposedly a link between that and your politics. So we'll get into that on Radio Free New York. Once again, we want to say hi to our new listeners on our new affiliates right at the top of the show here. Let's see, Radio Free New York is 6 to 7 p.m. weekdays on 1420 WAC out in Newark, and their new FM signal 96.9. And we are back on the Elmira stations, the Patriot 1230 in Elmira, 1415 Corning, 106.9 and 103.3.
Yeah. So very, very exciting. As we've said the last few shows, this is exciting because now we're 5 days a week. So you've got Radio Free New York 5 days a week. And if you're checking it out or driving through an area that is playing Radio Free New York, but you don't have it in your home area, call your home radio station and say, hey, I want Radio Free New York to play here 5 days a week.
We'll hook them up.
And yeah, we'll get them hooked up. Especially, it would be cool to get some, maybe a station in Central New York and Capital District. So if you happen to be listening out that way, call up your local radio station. We'd love to be on there.
Yeah, North Country would be good.
North Country would be awesome. I'd love to, just pop it up, spread the news, spread the word. And then you can turn on your radio dial and hear us talking about cool things like whether or not Virginia is going to be banning martial arts.
Oh, right. Yes. Krav Maga, that's the Israeli hand-to-hand combat thing. Self-defense thing.
Yeah. It's
a martial art.
Yeah, it's a martial art geared less towards competition and more towards real life, self-defense.
Kicking butt. That's what that's Krav Maga's about.
Yep. So I have seen over the last week memes on the internet, posts, news articles, all sorts of stuff about this Virginia Senate Bill 64, I believe is what it is, saying that it's going to ban martial arts. Mm-hmm. So I found that pretty interesting. I went and did some research, and I've got to say the first thing is this is an amendment to a law that has existed and seems to have been unchanged since 1987. So this law is not new by any means, and I want to go ahead and just read for you guys the law as it exists today, and then I'll tell you what they want to add to it. So it's pretty short. It's two small paragraphs or two small parts here. It's listed in paramilitary activity prohibited. And it says, a person shall be guilty of unlawful paramilitary activity punishable
seriously
by a class 5 felony.
Oh, yeah.
If he, then part 1 here, teaches or demonstrates to any other person the use, application, or making of any firearm, explosive, or incendiary device or technique capable of causing injury or death to persons, knowing or having reason to know or intending that such training will be employed for use in or in furtherance of a civil disorder. or, and this is section 2, assembles with one or more persons for the purpose of training with, practicing with, or being instructed in the use of firearms, explosives, or incendiary device or technique capable of causing injury or death to persons intending to employ such training for use in or in furtherance of a civil disorder. So that's the law today, as it's been on the books since 1987.
So you're attending a protest and you're partying. The way I hear that law being read is you shake up a beer can or a pop can and you pop it and it sprays soda on, let's say, a cop nearby. Or maybe a spectator or something.
Could be, yeah. And there are
It's an explosive device.
Yeah, I guess, there are definitions for the law, and I don't think, in what I read, and I got pulled up to be sure, I don't think they define what what that is. Oh, okay. Here, explosive or incendiary device means dynamite and all other forms of high explosives.
Oh, high explosive. Okay.
Any explosive, bomb, grenade, missile, or similar device, or an incendiary bomb or grenade, firebomb, or similar device, including any device. Wow, this is long. Which consists of and includes breakable container, including flammable liquid or compound, and a wick composed of any material which, when ignited, is capable of igniting such flammable liquid or compound and can be carried or thrown by one individual acting alone.
But there's a clause at the end of it in furtherance of civil disturbance or something.
Yeah, civil disorder. So that's actually the law as written in 1987 that exists on the books today. What they want to change, I've got this right here on their website. They want to add a part 3 to this law, and they want to add this part that says assembles with one or more persons with the intent of intimidating any person or group or persons by drilling, parading, or marching with any firearm, any explosive or incendiary device, or any components or combination thereof. So that's the change they want to make. So the first thing I want to kind of point out is, and there's exceptions to this too, and they actually do it exempt martial arts in the law. But what I wanted to point out to people just in the very beginning is that this isn't new. So, because that's kind of how it's circulating right now. And we talked in a couple shows ago about how information circles on social media and people just kind of pass along the meme as truth, and sometimes it's not. Actually, on social media, a lot of times it's not, and it starts to stir up just a bunch of different issues. We had that with the Whiskey Warrior in Putnam County. So now we've got this similar thing going on where people are saying, hey, martial arts is going to be illegal in Virginia. I'm going to read to you guys the exceptions, but since this law already existed, if that was the case, they've been illegal since 1987, and we should all be throwing a fit in 1987. That's, so, but here's the exceptions. So the exceptions, and I'm going to actually summarize these because there's 4 or 5 of them, and I don't want to read all of this on air. But if you're in the law enforcement, you're basically exempt. So similar to the SAFE Act, law enforcement, although they weren't initially exempt in the SAFE Act, they became exempt. The second exception is you can do all of this stuff as long as you didn't have the knowledge or intent in committing civil disorder. So this whole entire thing, as long as you can say, well, I didn't intend for something bad to happen, or to create disorder.
Conversely, the prosecutor would have to prove that you did have intent to cause civil disorder.
Yep. And
how do you do that? That's
yeah.
I mean, is that implicit from your actions, or?
And I'll actually go and read to you guys the definition of civil disorder in here too in a second. It then says if this is like a lawful firearms training or firearms course, firearms sports, recreational use of firearms, and then it says, where is the part about martial arts? It also says you're allowed to teach and practice self-defense techniques, karate, karate clubs, self-defense clinics, and similar lawful activity. This end part, I think, is really important. The end part says, notwithstanding any language contained herein, no activity of any individual group, organization, or other entity engaged in lawful display or use of firearms or any other weapons thereof shall be deemed to be in violation of this statute. So they're basically saying this doesn't apply to open carry. Like, you can still open carry in public, all this stuff does not apply to that.
Open carry in Virginia?
I believe they do, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I think that was the big issue with that protest that happened. People were open carrying. So, guys, the music's playing. We're going to come back here after the break. We're going to talk a little bit more about this and then talk about non-enforcement of some new laws. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Helping Santa fill his sleigh, making happier holidays for deserving children right in your community. Go to toysfortots.org and learn how you can make a difference.
I'm Las from Action Towing and Service. We are the biggest towing company in New York State, but we do a lot more than just towing. We will tow just about anything, but we will also repair just about anything as well. We offer a courtesy shuttle and pickup. We offer a drop box service. We have all these amenities that we've put in place to make sure that every one of our customers can receive the best service possible. Please give us an opportunity to win your business. Come down and visit us at 275 Marketplace Drive, right off of Jefferson Road.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their
Spot.
give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, we are back here on Radio Free New York. Welcome to the show. Welcome to all of our new listeners. We're now on 5 days a week. We're now on in a whole bunch of other places.
9 stations total. He's Andrew Hollister. I'm Bob Savage, by the way.
Yep. And we're just
Bob
talking.
D'Angelo in the Mission Central.
Yep. And thank you, Bob and Bob. We couldn't do it without either of you. So we're just wrapping up the discussion on whether or not the state of Virginia is looking at banning martial arts. And essentially, my analysis of it is this. This law has been on the books since 1987. It already has exemptions for martial arts and personal defense classes and all of that in it. And what it looks like, the person who proposed this bill, really they just proposed adding a sentence to the end of this, I guess it would be called statute, saying that if you assemble with more than one person with the intent of intimidating people and you're doing these other things, it's a felony.
You know what this law is? It's the Charlottesville law.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah,
that's what the problem is.
Militias. It's geared towards protests. And I think it's incredibly hard to enforce because you have to prove intent. So I don't see how that's going to be an easy thing to enforce. But it doesn't make things illegal. And I know there's been stuff all over the internet and circulating. And Bob, you had the list, right? Do you still have the list?
Yeah, this is, and unfortunately, I just jotted this down because I didn't get the source. But the allegation was that Virginia proposed to outlaw Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, Tai Chi, firearms instruction, and self-defense training.
Yeah.
Which is kind of counterintuitive. Why would they do that?
Exactly. So I wanted to bring this to light for you guys because I think what happened is I think somebody saw that this law was being proposed to be amended, and just this section of the law shows up in the amendment. So I think whoever put together the initial story didn't read the whole law. They didn't read the definitions portion. They didn't read the exemptions portion, and read just that little chunk and goes, wow, like this could be really bad. Look, Krav Maga would fall under this. Kickboxing would fall under this, all this stuff. But it's not actually the case. The exemptions make it, I think, pretty clear that none of this stuff would be considered illegal under this law as it stands today or even after it gets amended. But I did pull up the definitions in the law for civil disorder because it was mentioned multiple times through. And it says civil disorder means any public disturbance within the United States or any territorial possessions thereof involving acts of violence by assemblages of 3 or more persons, which causes an immediate danger of or results in damage or injury to the property or person of any other individual.
So let me understand this. I mean, any Virginia resident or citizen of the Commonwealth of Virginia could be prosecuted for, conducting this activity wherever they are in the U.S.
Yes, if there are 3 or more of them together, and they decide that they are going to engage in acts of violence and they cause damage to people or their property, I don't know how they'd be able to charge somebody from another.
What's with the language of wherever in the United States? You don't have jurisdiction over the United States in Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody's in Nevada and, they get involved in some kind of a fracas in Vegas and I think they go back home and they get what?
Yeah, I
jurisdictional problems, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine that holding up in court, but I suspect that this law has never really been used. Or very rarely. And the reason I say that is all of the parts except for the definitions part have not been touched or changed or modified since 1987.
Where were the prosecutions in Charlottesville then? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if this law was in effect and it says what some people seem to think it said, wouldn't there have been at least a handful of prosecutions in Charlottesville?
I think, once again, you're going to have a hard time proving intent. Proving intent of violence. How can you prove what was in somebody's mind beyond a reasonable doubt? I think that's a hard one. So I suspect that this law is just a limp something.
Well, it might be a showboat thing, somebody's trying to make a political statement. Who knows? I mean, that kind of thing happens all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of people showboating and making political statements, as a perfect segue to the law that was passed in Monroe County, right here in New York, my home county, about the law that makes it illegal to annoy the police.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big flap about this here in the Rochester area.
Yeah. So that's an issue. So to kind of bring the rest of you up to speed, I think last month it was, sometime in the last 30 to 60 days, the Monroe County Legislature passed a law that makes it illegal to annoy first responders.
Yeah, so harass, annoy, or obstruct first responders.
Yeah, and it's extremely general, very broad, no clear definitions whatsoever. I'm actually a former volunteer first responder. I do not feel this would have made my job any better. I would have definitely not felt good about this law and my title being stamped on there. And to be honest, I felt very used the same way I did when the SAFE Act passed, and the first responders were kind of like, this is to protect safe responders with the Webster provision. And we all felt upset and used, and like, somebody was using us as political pawns. I get the feeling that's how law enforcement feel about this, because that seems to be what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening right now. So for those of you new to the show or who maybe missed Kevin, who was on the show with me a few days ago, I think 2 weeks ago, he actually talked about this law in depth, and just how it's not a good idea and why. You guys can jump over on YouTube, search Andrew C. Hollister. You'll find that episode right there. You can listen to it. But the reason I bring this up, there's a few things I want to talk about, but first we'll talk about the law, which is annoying the police, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's right there. That's the point of contention. I think the word annoyance is, it's so broad.
It's extremely broad, very vague. So Rochester Police Chief LaRon Singletary said that he's instructing his officers not to enforce this law.
As is the Monroe County Sheriff's Department.
Exactly.
Sheriff Todd Baxter said, no, we're not going to, don't enforce this. And I think Ogden has, I think
Irondequoit, a whole bunch of them. And I want to address this because there's been two reasons given that there's going to be non-enforcement. One being they believe it's a constitutional violation.
I do too.
And another being that it's redundant and that there's already laws on the books that cover bad behavior in public, like disorderly conduct. So why do I bring this up? Well, the first thing is some people are saying that these police chiefs and these officers are doing this for political reasons. And I think that was because LaRon Singletary came out with his statement first. A lot of people said, the mayor is, tugging the puppet strings here. And because Republicans passed this bill, the Democrats are fighting it. That could be true, but I think either way, non-enforcement is the way to go with this law. I think this is a bad law. And now you have police chiefs and leaders in law enforcement on both sides of the political spectrum saying, no, this is bad. Even the union came out against it. The Locust Club came out and took a statement against it. So I say all that to say, do you guys remember the SAFE Act? You guys remember that, right? What happened then when SAFE Act came out and law enforcement said, we're just doing our jobs. It's unconstitutional, but we'll let it get settled in court. It's not my job to legislate. So I'm seeing people playing different sides of the fence here, and that upsets me because this law is a bad law, but so is the SAFE Act. Mm-hmm. And law enforcement basically told us their hands were tied. There's nothing they could do. But if you look at the SAFE Act, clear constitutional violations, and clearly killing people is already illegal. Having illegal firearms is already illegal. Breaking the law is already illegal. So the SAFE Act is redundant. It's unconstitutional. So I would like to ask all of the law enforcement out there listening, and this is not an anti-law enforcement message. Don't take it that way. I have a tremendous amount of respect for law enforcement. And when I call 911, I really hope you guys show up, but I'm still going to be prepared in case you can't, But this is my call. This is your chance to stand up and see that when you got up and said, this is a bad law, we're not enforcing it. The public rallied behind you and said, good job, you did the right thing. You can do that with the SAFE Act, and you should. So that's my message of that. I think it's really important for you guys to know that us as the community, we're going to be behind you, especially when you guys do the right thing. It makes us feel really good when you guys do the right thing. So guys, we're going to take a quick break here on Radio Free New York. And when we come back, we're going to talk about another public figure, your favorite judge. I'll let you guys sit there and think about who your favorite judge is. And we'll see if you guys are right when we come back on Radio Free New York.
Yes, I will.
has the power.
WYSL.
More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. Today, we're looking at scattered snow showers and steady temperatures in the 30s for the high. We do have some clouds tonight, and then into tomorrow, we have light coating of snow anywhere from 1 to 2 inches for your Friday. Still staying in the 30s for Friday afternoon, but then Saturday, dipping into the 20s. Milder temperatures to come by Sunday, and not expecting a lot of precipitation over the weekend ahead. This is Samantha LaRocca for WYSL.
This is Dom Genova, owner of Genesee Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Avon, your no-nonsense car dealer. You know, sometimes leftovers can be good. Thanksgiving turkey, yum. Beef stew, pretty good, huh? Sushi, well, forget the sushi. Not sushi. But you get my point. Chrysler just announced employee pricing plus rebates on most 2019 leftovers. You heard right, factory employee discounts for all of you on cars, trucks, minivans, and Jeeps, plus fantastic rebates and incentives. Hence the word plus. And at Genesee Valley, you also get a money-saving, no-nonsense deal from a non-commissioned salesperson. None of that stuff you hate, like those fake key mailers, screaming TV ads, or tactics that make you feel like you'd rather have a root canal. Hey, at Genesee Valley, I say an educated consumer is our best customer. Get the leftover you want before someone else does. After all, the factory's not making more leftovers, hence the word leftover.
Genesee Valley.
Exit 10, Route 390 in Avon.
GeneseeValley.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Atrantil.
'Tis the season to eat and be merry. If holiday enjoyment leaves you feeling painfully bloated, don't worry. Relief is here. Introducing Atrantil. Developed by a board-certified gastroenterologist, it relieves bloating where it starts, in the small bowel. That's why Atrantil works where other remedies don't. In clinical studies, 88% of bloating sufferers found Atrantil relieve their symptoms, and it's available over the counter without a prescription.
A friend recommended Atrantil, and I had great results. I was so bloated and full, it was miserable. But the product started to work almost immediately.
Atrantil is not another probiotic or digestive enzyme. It's made from a patented combination of powerful polyphenols. Plus, it's natural, vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO.
Atrantil turns my holiday bloating right around.
Eat and be merry this season with Atrantil. Find Atrantil at Amazon.com, your local retailer, or for a special holiday offer, go to Bloat411.com. That's Bloat411.com.
Atrantil.
Trends are moving local, from sourcing local farms to shopping small businesses. So why are you still with that big, cold, nationwide bank? St. Pius Federal Credit Union is inviting you back home. And coming home shouldn't mean sacrificing the services you want. St. Pius Credit Union offers state-of-the-art online banking, a mobile app, low fees, competitive rates, with access to dozens of fee-free ATMs. Let us show you how easy coming home can be at spxfcu.org. St. Pius Federal Credit Union.
Avon Floral World is celebrating 40 years serving Avon and the Genesee Valley. Avon Floral World has the area's largest selection of fresh flowers, silk arrangements, gifts, and home decor. Let Avon Floral World's master designers create a beautiful holiday arrangement. Call 226-3496 or visit our website, avonfloralworld.com. Stop in for the open house December 7th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and enjoy complimentary refreshments. Avon Floral World. We deliver smiles.
Quinn, we are supposed to go holiday.
Rejoin next.
Stuff for a holiday that we're not supposed to be shopping for.
The holiday that shouldn't be mentioned.
America's Morning Show. That's it. The holiday formerly known as.
Yeah, right. What do you think we're doing in your store? Holiday shopping or Christmas shopping? Do you want our Christmas money or not?
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Lobbing big old bombs of truth. WYSL, the home of Quinn in the Morning. Radio Free New York.
All right, we are back here on Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. Welcome to all of our new listeners and, of course, the listeners who have been here all along.
I think that covers everybody.
I think so.
The ones that have been here and the ones who have not.
Yep. Now, imagine for a moment, if you will, that your friend is having a baby and you get invited to a baby shower, and you go to Goodwill and you purchase a baby bouncer, and you wrap up the box, you bring it to the shower, and they open it up and pull out a rifle. This happened in Florida. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know those Florida man stories? Here's one of them.
Dana Lash has got those.
Yeah, so I guess this is what happened. Somebody went to Goodwill. They bought what they thought was going to be a baby bouncer, and they, I guess, didn't bother checking it, and it's kind of weird because, this person must have been running late. This is my guess. This is the last minute purchase on the way.
One of these stories where you feel like maybe we don't have the whole story.
Yeah. I mean, this is feeling like...
I'm thinking that the baby bouncer was destined for someone else.
Something. Yeah. So what happens is they open it up, and sure enough, there's a rifle inside. Now, the people who received it thought it was a joke until they realized it was a real gun. So apparently they called the police.
Okay, wait a minute. That doesn't compute either, because plastic guns don't feel like real guns.
I suspect these people maybe just aren't familiar with firearm ownership. I could be wrong.
Or baby bouncers, because you pick up that box, that thing's going to weigh a lot more than a baby bouncer.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't say what type of rifle or anything like that. Apparently, they call the police. Police show up. They run the serial number, and it's not stolen or anything like that. I'm not sure what the laws are in the area, but the police said, well, you technically purchased it, so we're going to hold it for 90 days, and you can come pick it up. And so this is just the most bizarre story I saw this morning. I've seen it now on 7 or 8 mainstream media outlets, so guaranteed it's probably not true at all. But I thought I'd share the chuckle with you guys anyways, because that's just strange enough to share. So we'll roll back to a story that we know is true, and that is Judge Astacio.
Leticia Astacio, former Rochester City Court judge. Just to reset everybody on the network here who doesn't know the long, tortured history of this case, the city court judge was found by I believe it was a state policeman, might have been a sheriff's deputy, along the side of an interstate about 4 o'clock in the morning. This is like 3 years ago, with 2 flat tires on her car and some sheet metal damage, thus indicating that the car had possibly hit some things.
Yeah.
And in the course of investigating this, they discovered, that maybe this person has been drinking. And I can't remember if there was a field sobriety test or if that was refused. But anyway, the driver was Judge Leticia Astacio. And so there were some repeat instances of drunk driving after that. She had been given, a conditional discharge. Then it progressed to her having an ignition interlock, which was apparently interfered with. Apparently the judge was having her daughter blow into it so she could start the car. Mm-hmm. Then there were violations of parole, and it's been this big media circus that has gone on and on and on, because during the pendency of all of this stuff, she retained her position. She was taken off the bench, the city court bench, and was assigned to desk duty, which half the time apparently she didn't show up for.
Yeah, she was in another country. She wasn't supposed to leave the county, and she went to like Thailand or something.
Yeah, because she was going to go commune with the monks and or whatever. I don't know. It's a bizarre story, and it kind of, when you get into the details of it, it's frankly a little bit sad. Yeah. But in any case, Judge Estasio's luck ran out in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And I'll just say, this story hit home for me in the way that people really trust their elected officials, and this shows how easily the system can be abused. I mean,
for one thing, one of the things that prompted a lot of outrage was not only was she continuing to receive her $174,000 a year salary, she actually got a raise while she was not showing up for work.
Yep. And she was somebody who was prosecuting DWIs. So here she is, committing a DWI, violating her probation, doing all this stuff when she was the one handing out sentences for that exact same crime.
Well, not exactly the same time, though. By the time she was really in trouble over the DWI, she'd been taken off the bench.
Yeah. But before that, she was very well aware of the law for sure. So now she went to court and told the judge,
representing herself, by the way, because she's been through like 4 attorneys.
Yeah. She told the judge that she took herself off of probation. She didn't want to show up anymore so she could get another court hearing. And I think we've got a recording of the judge's response to that.
Yes, this is Judge Lisa Toole. She's an Ontario County judge, actually. And because of Judge Estasio's, she was an acquaintance of most of the members of the bar and the judges in Monroe County, they had to bring in a judge from a neighboring county so that we avoid the appearance of impropriety. But anyway, this is what Judge Lisa Toole recently had to say to former Judge Estasio.
You unilaterally decided to take yourself off probation without a court order. You just decided you didn't want to go anymore, so you stopped going. I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to tolerate it. Your actions show that you do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. And it stops today, and it stops now.
Yeah, so she got 180 days in jail. Interesting thing, it seems to be, from what I've read, that by having that 180 days of jail, she won't have probation afterwards. She's kind of like, case closed, done. Get out of here and don't come back.
Yeah, I don't know about that. My own experience with dealing with alcoholics is that if you think that that's going to fix the problem, I hope it does for Judge Estasio's sake, and also for the sake of the community, because as we all know, drunk drivers tend to hurt and kill people.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. And in terms of the whole thing, this case really got just a lot of media attention.
Because it went on and on and on, and accompanying this whole story was a whole bunch of very picturesque antics, which took place. A lot of bizarre hairstyles. A lot of strangely, kind of passive-aggressive behavior in the courtroom, couched in legal language that was forehead-smackingly, frustrating for a lot of people, because people look at this kind of behavior and they go, if I did 1/10 of this thing, they put me away for 3 years.
Oh, easy. Well, and she went and allegedly, right? I don't know if this ever came up in court. I don't think she got charged for it. Tried to purchase a firearm in the midst of all this with their sister's ID at Dick's.
Oh, yeah, she was prosecuted for that, and she was acquitted of that charge.
Yeah, I think it was because they never actually gave her a firearm. I think that was the technicality. The reason she didn't get in trouble, for impersonating somebody else, technically committing identity theft and trying to illegally purchase a firearm.
Yeah, it's trying to make a straw man purchase.
Yep.
And fortunately, the folks at Dick's said, wait a minute, and by the way, in any gun store, they can refuse to sell you a firearm for any reason or for no reason.
Yep.
If they just don't like your looks or they think something doesn't smell right, they can just say, nah, you're not getting a gun today. Get out of here.
And that's what they said. They said something seems wrong. And I guess the thing is, this didn't have to happen because they were happy to just let her go. Like, they were like, just please leave. So she did. She went to another Dick's, tried to buy a gun there, and she was flagged in the system as not being sold a gun somewhere else. Then she made a scene, started screaming and yelling at the people, and that's when the police were called. So it's just... issue after issue after issue that really makes the taxpayer and the constituents look at this and go, wow, we've got some problems in government. We've got some big issues. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a new tax that was passed, signed into law on Sunday.
So
just a few days
exciting.
ago. I know.
Love it.
New York can never stop taxing. All right, guys.
And banning, too. We got a ban we can talk about.
Yeah, ban, tax, ban something, give it back with a tax. That's New York State for you. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
This Christmas, go green, get real. Want to be good to the earth? Real Christmas trees benefit the environment. They are farmed sustainably, and when recycled, they are biodegradable. Real Christmas trees are grown locally. Get a real Christmas tree, fragrant and farm fresh, direct from the Christmas tree farmers of New York State. Find a cut your own farm or pre-cut tree at www.christmastreesny.org. This Christmas, go green, get real. This message brought to you by the Christmas tree farmers of New York State. Online at christmastreesny.org.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right, we are back here on Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and Bob's here with me. He found a cool little study or something like that we were talking about over at the beginning of the show, actually, and nice little chuckle. I'm not sure. Where did this come from?
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire.
From Daily
Okay.
Wire.
Yep.
And it shows the study that physically weak men are more likely to be socialists.
Interesting.
More likely to favor socialist policies. An academic study from researchers at Brunel University in London assessed 171 men looking at their height, weight, overall physical strength, and bicep circumference, along with their views on redistribution of wealth and income equality. The study, published in the Evolution and Human Behavior Journal, found weaker men are more likely to favor socialist policies than stronger men. Brunel University's Michael Price believes this may be a product of evolutionary psychology. Quote, this is about our Stone Age brains in a modern society, said Dr. Price. Our minds evolved in environments where strength was a big determinant of success. If you find yourself in a body not threatened by other males, if you feel you can win competition for status, then maybe you start thinking inequality is pretty good. He wouldn't be, like, biased in any way, I don't think.
So is he the one with the small biceps?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's got little tiny biceps. And we put this to the test, by the way, in the studio. I know you're going to think this is very strange because it is. But Andrew and I decided we were going to measure our biceps and see how we measured up. And lo and behold, we have exactly the same size biceps.
Look at that.
13 3/4 inches.
Nope.
Which I think is pretty darn powerful.
At least it's not socialist size. That's what, so
no.
I don't know where the cutoff is, but neither of us are socialists, so that's definitely an interesting study. I'm sure it's been peer reviewed and upheld and all that, but so I found that entertaining. That was great. That was put a smile on my face today, anyways.
Yeah, a 13 3/4 inch bicep.
Yep. So actually, what's funny is we started the show. We're just about to start the show. We're talking about. I was like, I don't even know how do you measure a bicep. So I had to Google that first, and find out. And So now that there's a smile on your face, you have a little chuckle. Let me bring New York State in to take it away.
Bum you,
Alex from Charlotte.
Oh, we got.
In our ear, we find out Alex from Charlotte's on the phone. Hey, Alex.
Yeah, man, I believe everything about that wimpy guy want to be a socialist. I mean, why stand up and have a set of cast iron ones when it's easier just to get downtrodden by everybody? I mean, hey, look at your progressive liberal radio listener in this town. Over at that AM station across town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it makes total sense. I mean, testosterone and power and those are people who like to be in control of their destinies, and they like to they don't want to wait for government to come rescue them off a roof in a hurricane.
Sure. Yeah. I think that there's probably some merit to it for sure. If especially bicep size is obviously not the only thing they're looking at, but
wallet size, I think.
Wallet size.
Wallet thickness.
Yeah.
That's big too.
Yeah. I mean, those things just kind of align a little bit. If you're generally taking care of yourself, and in terms of your physical fitness, your financial fitness, things at home, you probably feel like capitalism's a good idea because you're bearing the fruits of your labor.
Actually, the Brunel study mentioned that. Let's see here. Other studies in the past have also suggested stronger men are more right-wing than physically weaker men. Quote, researchers found men's opinions on redistribution of wealth could be predicted by upper body strength, with powerful men more likely to take a conservative stance of protecting their own interests. That's from the Telegraph in a 2013 Danish study. And the columnist says anyone with two eyes would be hard-pressed to refute such findings. Yeah.
There you go.
But if you had four eyes, you probably would refute those findings.
Could be, but so we won't turn politics into a bicep measuring contest, but a very interesting study. Like I said, a great chuckle, and there's probably some merit to it. It's probably got a little bit of truth there. So we're smiling. New York State is going to tax away that smile.
Yeah, there you go.
And
they do what they do best.
Yep. So on Sunday, New York State created a brand spanking new tax. I don't have the date as to when this is going into effect yet. I found it just as we were going on air. There is now going to be a 28% sales tax on vape products.
28.
28.
Talk about draconian.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to put out there is this is not about your safety. This is not about the children. This is clearly about New York State recouping the money they're losing from people not buying cigarettes.
Yeah, that's a money grab.
Yeah. So in addition to, when you walk in the store and you purchase what they're calling vape products, which hopefully there'll be a definition for that I can read to you guys later. But chances are that's going to be the vape machines. I don't know what they're called. The e-cigs, the juice, which is the flavor product that goes in there. My guess is rechargeable batteries. If you have those things, coils, any type of vape accessories, you are going to pay 28% sales tax on that item. But wait, that's not enough for New York State. If you're a store and you're going to sell any of these products, you now need a license for that. And of course, there are many people thinking, yeah, a license sounds like a good idea. It'll make sure they're not selling to kids. No, the license doesn't do any of that. It's just a tax to New York State. Yeah, it's just money. A $300 a year tax to New York State. And we all know it's going to go up. It's going to start at $300. Next year, when they look at the deficit, they're going to be like, who's making money? The people in the vape industry. Let's bump it to $1,000. It'll just keep going up from there till it ends up being around the cost of, I don't know, like a liquor license, which I think starts at like $10,000 or something. The other thing that's interesting is this $300 a year license does something. It creates a registry of all of the companies that sell vape. Why? So they know who to tax, who to press for more cash, this whole thing. So it's not about public health. It's not about your safety. It's not about the children. It is a money grab. And you know that because if they really thought, here's how Democrats work, especially. Republicans do this too. So I guess we're under single party rule. So I'm tagging this on the Democrats because they did it. But Republicans do this as well. If they don't like something, they ban it. That's usually what it is. And they'll say it's for your health, and they'll take away your choice to, take bad things and put in your body at your choice.
Yeah, anything they don't like, they don't personally agree with, they want banned. And anything that they like, they want made mandatory.
Yes. So what this is just about money. Otherwise, it would just be outright banned. Now, here's the thing. They're saying any business that sells vape products. So that means if someday Rite Aid or Walmart or whomever decides that they're going to carry something related to vape on their shelves, they need this license too. So this is very forward thinking of them. They figured this out. They were like, oh, it's growing. Let's just make sure we get everybody's money. If you sell product and you don't have this license, the first fine is between $5,000 and $25,000. So for those small businesses that have been creating vape juice out of their garage, because the vape industry, a lot of people don't realize this is actually a small business industry. This is a mom and pop shop industry. The vape industry does have some big players like any industry does, but overwhelmingly it's people who started as a small business and are still small businesses. You will put them out of business very easily. $5,000 for a small business, that puts you under. $25,000 for a small business, oh, your whole life is totally destroyed. So this is New York State's way of just scaring people into purchasing their product, buying licenses that have nothing to do with safety, adding taxes that have nothing to do with safety, and really just twisting everybody's arm for money because we have such a big deficit.
Yeah, they just go through the sofa cushions and the car cushions looking for change, figuratively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, when you walk down the street, there'll be a man there who shakes your pockets up and down for you before you keep going, because that's the only way we're going to fund.
They'll turn you upside down and shake you.
Yep.
Yeah, don't give them any ideas.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be on again tomorrow at the same time. I think Kevin might be joining us in studio. We'll see. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Radio Free New York.